Welcome viewers to the second part of Parenting 101. We are honored to have Mrs.Jane Kariuki, who is a clinical officer and a psychologist, currently pursuing her master's in clinical psychology. She is the founder of PARENTEEN Kenya, an organization that seeks to empower the modern parent and their teenagers to enjoy a fulfilling relationship. Karibu sana Mrs. Jane Kariuki. Please start by telling us what inspired you to dedicate your time into parent-teen relationship so that the viewers at home can get to know it better.
Yeah, for me, it's a journey that started when I cleared high school and I volunteered for a year in a children's home and I taught high school students. And so during that period, I was requested to mentor them and I did that. And it was so refreshing for me. And so during college, I would go back and mentor the teenagers. And I realized it's a thing that I'm gifted in. And so after college and going to work, I continued to serve in the teens ministry, even in church and even out there. And in the process, I really wanted to just major on teenagers only. But in the process, I realized the parent also is a challenge, or the parent needs to be addressed. And most of the time, there is no one addressing the parent. So I realized if I want really to continue to be effective with mentoring these teenagers, the parents also need to be empowered in the process so that they come along now. I tell the teenager, it is good to respect and authority and honor your parents. But then again, I come in and tell the parent, you need also to understand that your teenager is changing and you need to be patient with them. And you need to love them regardless. So that's the aspect that I brought in, because when I had one-on-one with some teenagers, you'd hear the challenges they were having. And sometimes I could tell that maybe this parent doesn't know what they are doing is actually damaging or not helping in the child. And that's when, imagine, I started PARENTEEN Kenya. So I combined the name, PARENTEEN, and then the Kenya aspect came in.
That is very, very creative. So parent and teen working together.
Yes.
From your experience at the children's home, please highlight to us some of the challenges that you noticed were common in the teens.
For me, at that time I was coming out, even for me, from being a teenager. But the challenges, for them, it was a bit different because it was a children's home and they really didn't have parents or to be with them. It's only the lady and the organization and the volunteers. So that aspect, for me, it was now mentoring them and showing them how life is. The little knowledge I had, even as I taught them and out there how things are done here and there, now as I progressed, when I realized now this is something that is serious, that's when now I started to gain more knowledge and being serious and realized, these young people actually take what I tell them to seriously. And I can influence them. So that's really it. How I got to that point. Oh, nice.
Share with us, how does PARENTEEN Kenya help parents and teenagers in terms of coming up with a good relationship between the two?
Now, for me, like now the parents that we're having, mostly the millennials and now the Gen Zers are coming in, I've realized the parent doesn't have the knowledge, or they have minimal knowledge, and the default that they go to is how we were parented or they were parented. And that is what we are using. But what we are seeing, the landscape has changed, the teenagers are changing, and we notice the teenager and we are seeing parents really struggling with them. So my idea of coming in is now to teach these parents, how is your teenager changing? And what is happening to them in their brain, in their emotions, socially, and all that. Because the past generations were not really interested in the nitty-gritties and details. But for us, we are more informed. Like for me, don't just tell me, I need to do this. Why do I need to do this? We are that generation where we are asking why I need to do that, even at our workplaces. So even for parents, and what the feedback that I am getting, they are coming out in a better position now to be more gracious and understanding of the teenager when they understand what is happening to them or the changes that they are going through. So for me, my angle as parenting is that deeper understanding of who your teenager is. And also for the teen, the angle that I am taking is now for them to realize that these are their parents. You need an authority figure higher than you, telling you and leading you in life. Because what we are seeing with our teenagers currently, the influences that they have, from the teenagers to the series that they are watching, the TikToks and what, they are being told that you can manage your own life, you're your own person. Old people do not know a lot. It's the younger people, like the movies we watch. it shows that this teenager goes and rescues the world. It's the parent who doesn't know a lot. I am sure if you just pick a few movies, you'll see that. So this teenager is growing up with this mindset, I know things, I know my own, who I am, you know, and I can manage my own life. But I am trying to come in and tell them, you don't know a lot. You know, you don't have that experience. Your parents have that experience, and they have your best interest at heart. And also trying also to tell them that even now, understand your parent, where also they are coming from. There's that angle where teenagers really don't see, because it's mostly about me, myself, and I, you know. And then now bringing in the aspect, even the parents, the way nowadays we are really, for lack of a better word, pampering them. So now when they come into teenagehood, they believe I am it. But now they are teenagers. You don't want them to be it. You don't want them to be kings and queens. You want them to work. You know, you wanted to learn how to work. So now just coming in and tell them, now you also need to know that you can serve. You know, that now you need to listen to your parent. You need to listen to other authority figures. So now just bringing them down to the reality of planet Earth, or how the society works, because they have been praised a lot at home when they were younger, and now they are coming. Now they are expected to prove themselves as teenagers now, and that's why they begin feeling unloved, because before they were just being them. They were okay, and they were loved, you know, and they were appreciated. But now as teenagers, they have to prove, because they are beginning to get this adult-like body. Now they have to prove. They have to prove their worth in the home, not just being there, and that really now tends to affect them also. So I'm bringing in those two angles to the both groups of people.
Nice. I like how you are approaching it and telling us that it starts from listening. And for you to have a good relationship with your teen as a parent, there's the aspect of communication. How important is communication in a relationship, parent-teen relationship? Yeah,
for me, communication, especially in this generation, it is one of the key areas, because the Gen Zers and now the generation Alpha that is now coming up, now from Gen Z to Gen Alpha, they really want to be heard. They really want you to communicate with them. For us, we survived and we thrived by being told, by that boss attitude that our parents had, that them being boss, and we just did it as, and we want that also. Yes, we want them to respect that we are the authority as parents, and it worked for that generation, for our generation to some extent. Now this generation want to be involved in the conversation, in the planning of the home and how things are done and all that, in the conversation. And so that's the angle, that communication now for parents nowadays, they need to accept. I know it is a struggle, because now sometimes when I take that angle, they're like, no, we survived, you know. We were told, we just knew mom and dad, they just say this, and yes, but now we need to understand that the exposures are different for this teenager and the way you were growing up. Because there's a video I did trying now to compare the way we want to do parenting like our parents did, and I was asking the parents, are you going in the same schools that your teenagers, are they going to the same schools that you went to, with the same teachers? And now the teachers are Gen Zs, and they are coming in with those influences also there from what they have seen online. And I was asking them, are you offering the same home environment? To some extent, our parents were there, but our generation, we are so busy, we are not there, you know. And also the influence of social media, we did not have TikTok and Instagram to deal with. They have it. So when you add all these factors, saying that you will parent them the same way we were, you know, chances are high you might miss a mark here and there. And so it's something that I'm really urging parents: communication, listen, include them in the conversation. I'm not saying that now they become the leaders of the home. They still need to know you are the authority. That they know. But in terms of conversation, allow them to contribute 30%, if possible 40%, to the rules that you're coming up with, to the decisions that you're making in the home. And even if you won't include them eventually, if you won't add what they suggested, they will know that you heard them, that they were given a voice as an input. And so for me, I think that aspect of communication will really help parents to connect more with their teenagers. So first, a parent should understand that the generation right now is different from the one they were in and the previous ones, right? Because anybody born from 2010 fall under the alpha generation. And for us to have an effective relationship, a nice relationship with our kids,
we need to have some of the communication techniques that I would like you to tell us some of the things we can implement in our daily communications so that we can foster a healthy relationship.
Okay, the daily communications at home now, it's for us to, now, for us, even number one, for us even to communicate with them better, we need to be present.
Presence.
Yeah. So, and not only physically present, because you can be present but absent.
True.
I can be present but I'm on my phone throughout, you know. I can be present if you are someone maybe who takes a bit of alcohol and not, maybe now yes, you're at home, but it's the one that is higher in the system more than, so you can be present. I usually say you can be present but absent. Number one, be present, so that now your whole self is attentive to the children, because they can tell when we are there but not listening. And then now listening to them. And I know it can really be irritating, sometimes even annoying, to listen to a teenager as they try to argue their point, and you're seeing this point really doesn't doesn't make sense, it doesn't apply here, it is not. But that is how you get to know your teenager, and that's what I tell parents. In the midst of all those many words, that is how you get to learn how they think, you know, and it can actually help you later. You'll start realizing, oh, this child actually thinks in this way. And so number one, it's listening. You know, I usually say when your child becomes a teenager, the conversation moves from parent-led to teen-led. Okay, and when a conversation is parent-led, you do 90% of the talk, or even 80%. When it is teen-led, now you allow the teenager to talk more. You know, so that has to change, and the teenager needs to feel that I have been listened to. You know, so listening more, even as now after that, after you listen, there's that aspect of showing that you've understood. I can listen to you and say, no, we are not doing that. No, that is, and that is it. No, after you listen, now you can try and paraphrase. Okay, I know you've said that we can go at this time, or you can clean your room at this other time, but now for me, I'm telling you, you need to clean it now, because, so the teenager heard that you've listened to them, that they said, I will clean my room maybe in the evening and not now, or tomorrow, or I want to go to such and such a place tomorrow and not. So now the teenager will hear, yeah, my parent actually listened, even though they are saying no, and they might get mad, they might be mad because of that. They slowly by slowly, as you do it, they will realize, hi, my parent has listened because you paraphrased it. But when they say no, something, and you just say, no, we are not doing it, do it now, they will tell you, Mom, you've not even heard what I was saying. So that paraphrasing actually helps to now communicate better with your child. And then once in a while, just affirming her and affirming him or her, and telling her, you know, I know sometimes it's not easy to do what your parent says and all that. Let them know that it's not, let them know you understand that it is not easy for them to follow your rules, or the rules in the home, considering now they also feel they have this desire that I want now to know, to make decisions about my life. And in the process now, you can also come in and now think of ways that now you can release some responsibilities and some decisions to them, so that they don't feel that now you are the one who's making all the decisions. Slowly by slowly, look at what is safe to release and allow them to make the decisions, and leave the major decisions now for you, where there is the non-negotiables, where you won't negotiate. So now you need to sit down with yourself, you know, and assess and see, what can I release, and allow them to make decisions, especially if they voice they don't feel heard, or they voice that, Mom, you always decide everything for me, or Mom, you always say this, you know. So just see, if your teenager has said that a lot, see what you can allow them and release for them to do, you know, and realize that they can do more than we think that they can't do actually. This
generation of kids and teenagers are people that are open-minded. They voice out issues where they feel they have not gone the way they wanted. So one of the virtues that should be maintained is trust. How do we cultivate it? How do we nurture it? And how do we maintain it to foster a good relationship?
Oh, trust. Oh, wow. Yeah, trust is a key thing that a parent needs to really cultivate, as you've said. And it really starts earlier on. How have you been talking to your child, now a teenager, as you are coming along? Were you promising things and never fulfilling? Were you telling them, nitakuletea jioni, and you don't do it? Or we will go on Saturday and you don't go? Or I will come tomorrow and you don't come? So with time, not knowing, and for us, we assume, even the younger ones, we really assume they do not understand. They do, because for us, as now for me, as a psychologist, so many challenges that adults have, especially trust issue, they stem from childhood. 6 years, 7 years, imagine that. And we assume that these little children do not pick, and they do not understand. Subconsciously they pick, because we say, yeye ni mdogo hata ashikanishi. Yeah. and that is something that later comes, and it affects them later in life. And so how did you nurture that trust from day one? So if you were telling them you'll do this and that and not doing it and not fulfilling it, or you'll come at 5 or at 6 and then you come at 9, they pick, they see it. So now you start losing that trust. And now in the teenagehood, you need to start gaining it back. When you say something or when you promise something, try and do it, if possible. If you know you won't, you're just telling them so that they stop nagging, or they stop telling you, just try and then don't promise. That's one of now starting to build the trust. Another thing, when a teenager shares something, and I've really seen this online on several occasions, where a parent comes and says, my daughter came and told they were being bullied. Okay, or a friend said this about them. Maybe it's not a serious bully case. Or my friend said this about who and the other. And for you as a parent, because you want to protect your child, you go and tell the parent of the need. That destroys trust a lot. And I've seen it happens on many occasions, actually, when you look at those parenting groups online. For me, I would say, I know there is a level, it's debatable, there is a level that you really need now to alert the other parent, there is a level. But for me, I would say, ask your teenager, when they are sharing, are they sharing so that you go and also tell the other parent, or they are just sharing to get it off their chest, and even just to hear reassurance and just to be heard what they have said. So even those aspects come in, or they come if the parents are not living together. You go and you come on this other side, they go and they tell you something that happened in the other home, and then you go and ask that parent, why was this? It destroys trust. So that aspect of trust, and parents, we assume it doesn't have an effect on them, but it really does. So those little things of building trust is really important, and when they tell you something and you're having an argument, even amongst siblings, they tell you something as a parent, about the other sibling, or even about themselves, then you go and tell the other sibling such things, or during an argument you reveal it because you're having an argument.
Nani aliniambia?
Yeah. So those little things really destroy trust in teenagers a lot. Yeah. So those are the things maybe parents can do to build their trust. Yeah. Trust
forms a very strong basis for respect. And in this context, we find that there are so many parents that are struggling with respect. You hear them talking about, this kid doesn't respect my opinions, doesn't respect my private space. So there's so much chaos around respect, either perspectives of the parents or even boundaries. Saidia wazazi.
Yeah, that one for respect and boundaries. For me, I would now start by asking, how was it before now they were a teenager? How was the boundaries when they were younger than, and now a teenager now, because they're slightly older, now you need the boundaries there and the respect that is there. The one that is the first aspect. Then I would also ask, are you also respecting them? If they are not, it starts with you first. How are you treating your teenager? And I usually like giving this example. For example, you have a visitor and we are talking the way we are talking as adults, and I respect you and you respect me and we're having. And then they come and you want something. So go and get, what are you doing? You change your tone of voice. You talk to them like a child. Do you know that teenager registers? They go asking themselves, you are talking respectfully with your friend, or with your spouse. Now you turn and talk to me as if I am a child, or I have just done something wrong, and you're telling me to go and do something. So they register that, and that also partly contributes to why sometimes respect, may start fading away from your parent. And also, what are they exposed to? What are they being exposed to on TikTok? The series they watch and the music they listen to. Because if you watch these movies, I especially the Western movies, they really portray, and sometimes it really annoys me watching them. It shows the teenager, you know, just talking badly to the parent, and then they just, oh, you know, they're a teenager, they will get over it. So and they experience a lot. We see it a lot in series and all that, and so that is what they are consuming most of the day, especially if you allow your teenager to, and that is slowly what they pick and they understand. And also the music, you know, some music really advocates for them being. They are the head there, you know, no one can tell me what to do, blah blah blah, you know. You know, I am my own person, I am. Those songs, as you listen, also influences them. So there's so much thing about respect. One, you need to respect them. Two, what are you feeding them and what are they consuming that now they're also showing it to you? And number three, have you taught them respect? Are you present also to teach them how to respect someone else? You know, just apart from them being disrespectful and now you using consequences, have you now sat down and had that conversation about respect, what it is and how and why it's important to have? Because what happens, what I have noticed, and that's why also I'm in this space, parents don't really take the time as the little ones are growing up to teach them this basic life. You know, we say, they are small, they shikanisha sai, maybe later or something. And then we don't do it. And then now they are teenagers, we expect them to know from where, how, you know, and we were rarely there to teach them these things. So for me, when I hear a challenge, when I read a challenge, my first question would be, did you take the time to teach them? If not, or if you do it to the right level, start now. Assume this teenager does not know even the definition of respect. Start teaching them how to respect, what it is and how to do it, and model respect, you know. And if you're watching something and you see like this movie, it is showing the teenager disrespecting the parent, pause and have a discussion about it. You know, for me, and for me it really works. The television sometimes helps me to have talks with my kids that I will not have during other periods. So take advantage of such moments so that they learn, you know, more of conversation and communication. I think that's when now we can nurture respect in our teenagers.
Kabisa. In the effort to curb peer pressure, bad influence from friends and people outside, most parents have invested in gadgets. And one of the main concern in many parents are now fighting screen time. What is your advice?
Oh, for screen time, my advice, don't give them the phone. I know it is impossible. I know for screen time, one, you need to know at what point it's okay to give them. For me, I say, don't just give them because they are a certain age. And I know you would say maybe, I need to call them and know where they are. Okay, there are those points that you need to call them and know where they are. But for me, I would say, one, age is not a determinant of maturity. You need to sit and analyze your teenager. You know, how is my teenager, even without the phone, without the online life, are they struggling with their self-esteem? You know, are they able to sit and do an activity and complete it without a lot of distraction? You know, are they able to manage themselves and what they are doing? If already without the phone they are struggling, and you know, once you give someone the phone, that is it. Them managing their time, them also having self-esteem struggles, especially for teenager, and them knowing how to manage things and do what their responsibilities will be a challenge. The phone takes that away to some extent because a lot of time is spent there. So for me, one, assess your teenager even as you plan to give them. And if they really have to have the phone, if they really have to, you need to monitor then the screen time and use various apps. You know, there's an article I did on my website and I gave suggestions of apps that you can use. You know, like for example, there's a free version. We have the Kaspersky, there's a free version for kids and teenagers. We have Family Link. That's a free one that someone can use to manage screen time and monitor. You know, the others that are paid, there's Net Nanny, there's Quest Studio. There's another one called Back. This one also, some of this you can even lock. From your phone, you can lock their phone. From your phone, you can see what they are. Maybe not the details in excess. It depends the settings that you choose. But you can tell they have been on TikTok, they have been on Instagram.
The sites they have visited.
Yes, you'll actually tell. And even some settings, if you allow, you can even read the messages that they, where you are, if you've noticed they're exceeding their screen time, lock it. Good. So there are those aspects that you can use. But for me, I would advocate, just avoid giving them as early as possible, because research, I was writing an article and I was looking, research is saying that it's affecting even the preteens. Imagine the preteens are between 10 to 12 are the ones who are self-esteem issues and struggles, and now having eating disorders, you know, and being depressed because of how they look, and they're just them being them as they are. It's really higher on preteens even before we enter the teens. And that's why I'm even thinking, now do we need to bring in the preteens in for me also now to address that, because it's really affecting them, because these brains, they are still developing. And I was saying, like the prefrontal cortex, it's the one that now will tell you, no, I can accept myself as I am. I am still beautiful. I am still, my body image is okay. But for a teenager and a preteen, it's not yet fully developed. It does not stop until, not unless now you nurtured that as they were growing up, and tell them, no, I am still okay as I am. That part of the brain is still developing. So you are the one to shield. So, and how do you shield? But by avoiding giving them these gadgets and them being on Instagram and TikTok, where images are just picture perfect, you know? So yeah, that would be my, and I usually, I don't like giving the age, because people will be so contentious about the age. Is it 16? Is it 18? Is it 13? But for me, I would say, look at your teenager and see, are they mature? Are they, how are they processing the things? What I just mentioned, are they struggling in any way in various areas? Then don't give the gadget, even if they are 17. Yeah. Nice.
So as Parenteen Kenya, please share with us, what are your future plans in terms of growth and expanding your reach?
For me, in terms of growth, I now, because now part of my plans is now considering the parents are busy and finding time now to nurture their children is a challenge, even coming for training. So for me, I'm just looking at what can I do. I'm thinking in terms of maybe online courses, short online courses, straight to the point, you know, that can help them. Although I will still do the trainings, just brief, important trainings. For me, you come in, we do the training, key points that you need, you know. I will go do the research on, I remove the A or B's, and we just major on the key things that needs to be done. So for me, in terms of that, is maybe come trainings. I already have a training manual for parents and for teenagers, and that now thinking how I can do online courses for them. And even those videos that we do on TikTok and the Instagrams and Facebook, I've seen that it really helps some parents. When I check my inbox, like the relief that they have, I imagine in that 2-minute video, and they tell you that, why I didn't know this, now I'll re-strategize what I was doing. So I think that is what we'll do. Life is online now. I have to move online. So that's the plan for parenting. Yeah.
Life is online now, and we have to adapt to the changes, right? Yes. So please share with our viewers your social media platforms, and you have also mentioned our website. So take this chance to share with our viewers.
Okay, so for those listening, I would like you to visit my website. It's Parenteen Kenya. I have written blogs, I think almost 50 articles that can really be helpful. I'm also on TikTok at Jane the Psychologist. You can find short videos that are really helpful. Instagram, it's Jane Kariuki, and on Facebook, it's also Jane Kariuki. Or if you search Parenteen Kenya, you'll find me on those social media handles. So I'll see you there.
Asante sana. It is Parenteen, parent and teen. P-A-R-E-N, then teen. Please visit the sites for interaction with her. She also does one-on-one coaching, right?
Yes.
Yes, so she does one-on-one coaching, one-on-one counseling. So please have time, visit the sites for the betterment of our kids. Asante sana, Mrs. Jane.
Karibu.
Happy to have you on set. And I know we'll keep on talking more and more and more.
Thank you sana for having me here.
Asante.
Yeah.